So this video, we're going to get into Mason Graham, the 6'3", 315-pound defensive tackle out of Michigan's a junior, man. He hails from Los Angeles, California, where he played his high school ball. And he was a standout offensive and defensive lineman and competed as a wrestler, man. And it's evident in his play. Mason Graham was a four-star recruit in 2022. And he's done well at Michigan, man. He's like a household name, well established as an NFL prospect, man. And he's a guy, like, as you can see, is explosive, man. Explosive player. Explosive first step in a pass rush, a force in the run game, made plays behind the line of scrimmage, a unanimous All-American. So let's get into it, guys. Mason Graham.
So let's get into Mason Graham. Now, Mason Graham is a defensive tackle out of the University of Michigan, man. National champion. I mean, the kid is an impressive talent. Like, as you saw earlier, Mason Graham in high school was a great wrestler, and that comes to play in film when you watch him on the defensive line. Now, some of his strengths, man, he has impressive movement for his size. He's not the biggest defensive tackle, so he is on the defensive line in a way that he can, hold his leverage and get upfield is very impressive, man. He has one of the quickest get-offs I've seen from a defensive tackle in the last few years, man. Man, takes on blocks with a wide base. He can shed blockers off very easily, man. He's super solid on double teams. Man, he fights back against pressure too really well. He avoids getting washed, even when it comes to his size, because he's not the biggest guy in the world. He really isn't, man. I mean, he's 6'3", he's 306, big hands, 32-inch arms, 83-inch wingspan. But a lot of the times when you see guys that are defensive tackles, you think guys like Calais Campbell. He's not that. He's not tiny, but he's not one of those super heavyweight guys at defensive tackle. So he's very quick. He can collapse a pocket on a bull rush really well, man. He's a great tackler, great in run support, man. And he shows some decent hand swipe moves. He catches offensive linemen off guard with his quick hands, and I think that's attributed to a lot of his wrestling background. And this is the thing, man. He has a lot of positives, man. Fluid hips as a pass rusher, man. He wins low, but the only thing about him is he lacks some consistency as a pass rusher. He needs to develop some pass rush moves to kind of get up the field to be the kind of guy that people kind of compare him to. Some people compare him to Aaron Donald. I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, Aaron Donald's one of the three best guys to ever play that position. But when you talk about from a size perspective, you think Aaron Donald, right? Aaron Donald was a little smaller than him, but people try to compare him to Aaron Donald, which I think is really unfair. On his shorter arms, like I said before, he's not a Jalen Carter kind of defensive tackle. Jalen Carter is a monster. You know what I mean? Calais Campbell, guys like they're monsters. Eric Armstead, these guys are monsters, big dudes, right? So he's not that. And he has a habit of kind of getting a little high in his stance, and his pad level sometimes isn't the best. But he has to learn how to be consistent as a pass rusher. But be that as it may, a lot of people are saying that Mason Graham is quite possibly the cleanest, safest pick in the draft. And that's one of the reasons why if the Raiders were to take him, I would not be mad at all, right? I'm all for the Raiders picking a clean, safe pick that's going to be productive, and he would probably transform our defensive line into one of the premier units in the entire league. The thing is this: the Raiders have doubled down on the defensive line to try to support Max Crosby. They've done it in the draft with Tyree Wilson. They've done it in free agency with Adam Butler, Christian Wilkins, and now this year by re-signing Malcolm Koonce. Then they doubled down by giving Max Crosby at the time the highest deal of any non-quarterback in the league's history, which has been surpassed by Myles Garrett now. But I digress. The Raiders have invested a lot into that defensive line, like to the point where if they invest any more into this line and swing big on a draft pick like Mason Graham. Now, if the draft board falls like that and he's the best player available, i.e. what happened with Brock Bowers last year, then I have no problem with it. But the thing is, if there are other players on the board, if a Genti's on the board, or if one of the quarterbacks are on the board. I think the Raiders would be better suited to probably bring one of those guys in because it'll help the team later down the line. Now, will Mason Graham be a fit with the Raiders? It would make this pass rush just damn near everybody be unblockable, to be honest with you. And if they were to do that, like I said before, I wouldn't be upset. But just me thinking from like a dollar cost average kind of thing, a value kind of a pick, I don't know if this is the pick for the Raiders. Now, I think Mason Graham might go a lot earlier than a lot of people expect. I think Mason Graham has, the potential to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That could be their pick. It really could, because he would really help their line, and he's a guy that they would need down there in Jacksonville. But be that as it may, Mason Graham, beast. Love the guy, love his tape, love everything about Mason Graham. And if the Raiders were to take him, like I said, it wouldn't be the pick that I would pick if I had other options. But if they were, it's a terrific pick because, like a lot of people are saying, to me, he might be the safest pick in the whole draft. Man, the guy just I don't see a way with his work ethic and some of the skills that he has and he shows on film and the competition he played against, at Michigan, him being a champion and him showing up against Alabama in the Rose Bowl. That's something that sticks out to me. He had a big stop in that game, man. I mean, he is just a tone setter. He is a guy that if you draft Mason Graham for the next 10 years, you can pencil him in as a player that will be on your roster. So if the Raiders weren't there for their wisdom to take Mason Graham, if he was there and other guys are off the board, the Travis Hunters of the world are off the board, the Abdul Carters are off the board, the Shedeur Sanders are off the board, and most importantly, Austin Genties are off the board. I can see the Raiders taking a guy like Mason Graham. But guys, listen, that's my breakdown on Mason Graham. Safest pick in the draft. If you like what you hear here, go on, hit that subscribe button. Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm in Man Wasted Talent. We're on a race to 14,000. Guys, do me a favor. Cost you nothing. Hit that subscribe button. It helps the algorithm. Hit that like and leave some comments below, man, because I really want to get into it, guys. I love hearing your comments. I always respond. I want to hear what the nation thinks if the Raiders were to take Mason Graham, and where do you guys have him as the like as far as the top 10 guys? Where's he sit in your hierarchy of people you would like to see the Raiders take at 6? Like Cam Ward, we could kind of guess that he'd be gone. Abdul Carter, you can kind of guess he would be gone. So when you start talking about, Travis Hunter will most likely be gone, right? So when you start talking about the people the Raiders could take, you start getting into Shedeur, you start getting into Mason Graham, you start getting into Mimbo, you start getting into Will Campbell, you start getting into Will Johnson, you start getting into those kind of players. Who would you guys like to see the Raiders take at 6? Please tell me below in the comments. Share this thing out to all social media if you can. Put it on Instagram, put it on Twitter. And guys, I'm going to put a poll up on Instagram. If you guys are following me on Instagram or Twitter, go follow me there too. But do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm in Man Wasted Talent. We are out of here.